Hey, what's good with y'all? I came across a video on my feed from Cjax 525. I just couldn't avoid this title. Triple H is holding WWE back. Sounds like my cup of tea. Something that I've been talking about on the channel for a couple of weeks now. And I just want to see other people's opinion on the same matter. I have not watched the video. I'm about to tap in right now. And see, Jax, I hope that you are not upset that I am. I'm reacting to your video. I'll have my Twitter down in the comment section below. What is it? At Wyzanow. If you want to say, hey, big bank tank, little bank, we're going to have to take that down. Let me know. Otherwise, I hope that this is perfectly fine with you. I just want to see what your opinion is and see if it resonates with myself and my audience. I will definitely link the video and his channel down in the description. And I see that he got this Roman Reigns thing right here too. Let me know what y'all think about that one. Hey, Roman is cooked. I might have to tap in, but let me see what he got.
Triple H is holding WWE back, okay? It's as simple as that. Now, obviously, this has to deal with, WWE and TKO, you know what I'm saying? The company owning them, right? And the UFC and all that stuff. They're more corporatized now, right? So WWE, whereas they used to be focused and I felt like, quality and character building and gimmick.
Now, Cjax talks fast, but it's an 18-minute video. I had to up the speed just so that I'm not here. Y'all know me. I'll talk for like an hour. So I just increased the speed of the video so that I'm not here all that long. I might not do the whole video. Again, link for the video will be in the description if you want to check out the whole thing uninterrupted. But let's see what's up.
You know what I'm saying? And entrance themes and engaging and, blood feuds, right? Between great faces and great heels, which there's basically none of anymore, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, right? They operate now off of money and ads rather than quality now, So
oh my God, yes. Stop. Full stop. Right there. The advertisement on this show has become egregious. It's beyond ridiculous. It's one of their biggest problems with their PLEs. You watch a PLE, a 4-match card, they're gonna stretch it to about 3 hours. 4 matches in 3 hours, and I want to say about an hour and a half of it is ads. Like, come on, bro. What we doing? Then you look at their ring. There's ads all over the place. It's just a mess. It's a mess. It's off-putting. It's easy to tune out of because you're pretty much watching more ads than the show. So, and I don't think that that's the fault of a Triple H and WWE. That's the fault of what they bought into with TKO.
That's why they're okay with like part-time schedules. You know what I'm saying? They're champions not wrestling, not even showing up half the time like Gunther, you know what I'm saying? They're okay.
Gunther does shows up. He doesn't wrestle, but he shows up. He's there. Gunther's always there. That's another thing that I've seen on some wrestling channels. People say that Gunther don't be there, and I'm like, what shows are y'all watching? That motherfucker there. He there every damn week. He just not wrestling, but he's there. He's Cody. He's Cody. Cody's just there. Gets his promo and he goes home. That's it. And he gets his wool pop. That's about it.
With Travis Scott going out there, one of their biggest segments ever, right, with Cena turning heel, and Travis Scott's going out there and busting Cody's face in his eardrum. Nobody cares about that, right? Like Triple H knows that Travis Scott is going out there. He doesn't know what he's doing. It doesn't matter. The low ratings keep, the ratings keep dropping over and over and over again. You get repetitive shows with the same matches. You get what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? They get $5 billion from Netflix, and they're getting $50 million per PLE from Saudi Arabia. So they don't.
The more that they continue to get this free money, just based off of the name, based off of being at the top of the genre, it seems like the less they care. It's the same with the Vince effect. Once Vince started to get all of these bags, it's like he stopped caring about trying to be creative with the product and just catered to the bag. He cheapened his product in a sense.
Don't care, and bots are still filling out most of these arenas, you know what I'm saying, and for these bad shows.
He said bots are filling out these arenas. Hey, that's going to have diminishing returns at some point. At some point, this inflation is going to finally kick in and people are going to be like, yo, I ain't got it like that. And they keep, like, they're pretty much doing what concerts are doing, like a Beyonce is doing with their ticket price and just 10x it. And people are still buying. But at some point, Diminishing returns will kick in, and people won't be showing up as much as they are. They're a hot ticket right now because they promote extremely well, but they're a hot ticket. I don't think it's a hot product because people aren't watching like that. People are showing up. I hold no quarrels against it. They're getting people to turn the gate, but people aren't tuning in. Again, this stuff is going to show its face later down the line, and maybe they'll be pulling another trick out their hat by that time.
So they're doing on Raw and on SmackDown just for these crowds to be dead, but the crowd's still at least like 80 to 90.
Yeah, that's another thing. For these crowds to be sold out crowds every week, every big show, they're not alive enough for me. They're really not a lot like, and that's part of the reason why a lot of stuff doesn't get over. It's because like, where's the crowd involvement? A lot of times you're like, man, crowd ain't reacting to nothing tonight, and it just doesn't make for an enjoyable watch. That's when you really end up like me, laser focusing on what's going on in the ring and what's going on with the character. It's because we don't have any distraction from the crowd reacting to it and the crowd letting us know, hey, maybe you should get behind it, which is what they did with the Jey Uso. All of the crowd reaction convinced people that's watching at home, we should get behind this. And it blinded you from what you were actually watching once he stepped between the ropes. So when you take the crowd away or you take the sound of the crowd away, you end up focusing on what's going on in the ring. And you're like, this shit is trash. It's trash. So, yeah, big crowds, dead silence. Wonder why that is.
For say capacity, you know what I'm saying?
AEW doesn't even have that problem. Like, at least they try to be loud and vocal. Hardcore audience. It's a problem with, man, this is, I'm sorry, Cjax, this is turning into my own video. I've taken over your video. But this is why sometimes having a hardcore audience works in your favor because it makes your show feel more alive. Whereas WWE does have that casual fan or a lot of people that are buying tickets because they just want to either A, have the WWE experience, or B, just say that they were a part of this thing or this moment. They're not necessarily buying into what's going on in the ring. And on the weekly show, you're not showing anything but your mid card talent. You're not showing your top of the chain talent for some reason, but you're showing your mid card talent, and the people that bought tickets, they're not buying tickets for them. They're buying tickets for your CM Punk, your Seth Rollins, your up there guys, and you may get a segment from them, or they'll save one of their matches for one of their bigger towns. But the smaller towns, they're going to get Chad Gable. I'm sorry. They're going to get Grayson Waller and Jey Uso. I'm sorry. And the crowd doesn't get behind that. Look, I'm not being paid to provide solutions to WWE's problems. I'm not being paid at all. I just got monetized.
Most nights for mid shows. So it is what it is. But the fact is that they're not focused on the quality of it, right? And the sad thing is that Triple H has proved that he can at least do a solid job as the booker. Now, last year during Mania 40 season, right in the latter parts of 2023, when Punk came back, Rock came back, Roman was semi-full-time leading up to Mania, you get what I'm saying? Like, they proved, even though obviously you have The Rock benefiting, right, and bringing everything back, because like I always say, a rising tide lifts all boats. So when you have guys like Roman and Rock there semi-consistently, obviously everything is going to be more interesting and more heightened. You get what I'm saying? That's just the impact of what great wrestlers and great performers do. You know what I'm saying? Mania 40 felt like Avengers Endgame, right, for WWE. Like, it was insane. The hype was great. You know what I'm saying? They even got me to buy tickets. I went to WrestleMania 40. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was an incredible night. Amazing PLE from top to bottom outside of like one or two matches.
Seats didn't look bad.
And then after that, you had inventive editing. You know what I'm saying? New stories. During that season, right, they were putting talent into the best positions possible. So Rhea Ripley's not elite on the mic or a great storyteller. So they put her with Becky, and they had a solid program for Mania 40. Cody Rhodes is not great unless you give him an elite level heel to go against. So now Cody Rhodes had an elite level heel, and he ended up being somewhat decent. You know what I'm saying, in the run. I thought he was pretty solid in that run, right? You had like 6 to 7 matches per night at Mania. They need to go back to that format. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand how you see the model for success, right? And outside of Rock and Roman, you still have, outside of Rock, everyone else is still there to be used for this year's Mania as well. It's the same people.
Oh my God, that was so perfectly put. You see the model of success. You see it. It's there. It's right here on your screen. And I'm not saying that's not glazed to Roman or Rock. That's more so saying like, here are real stars, right? We know how they became stars. We know how they got to that level. Why not pretty much just duplicate the formula with other people so that we don't have to rely on the same guys all the time? We have other people that could pick up the slack, if not perform and do better. Like, give these people a chance. I don't feel like they're given a chance. I really don't.
People plus CM Punk. So how is it possible that this Mania 41 season can be so much worse than Mania 40? You know what I'm saying? You have John Cena involved, so that basically is like 80% of what The Rock would be. So what's the difference? It's not like it's impossible to build this Mania 40.
And you know what's funny about this John Cena thing? Right now, at this current moment, John Cena, I think, has been on something televised with WWE 3 times this entire year. We're in the middle of March, right? WrestleMania is next month. You take away John Cena's heel turn, and it feels as though it's not even WrestleMania season. So far, at this current moment, what is this, March 13th? WrestleMania feels like John Cena and nothing else. Like there's nothing else to talk about. We're talking about like the bulk share, 90% of the excitement of WrestleMania, maybe even higher, is John Cena. A guy that's been there 3 times this year. But people say Triple H is cooking and Booker of the century and shit. All right, I feel you.
They want to make it as equally great or as last year's or even better. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. And that alone proves the booking has clearly already declined, you know what I'm saying, along with the quality. The fact that you have the same roster of competitors as last year, right, just replacing The Rock with John Cena instead. Everyone else is the same. That plus CM Punk, of course, is now there healthy. How is it possible that you're in a situation where this Mania is this much worse than Mania 40 in terms of the build and in terms of the eventual quality of the PLE? We know Mania 40 will be better, most likely, you know? So it just doesn't make any sense. And the sad thing is, as well, the mid-card...
He's right. They got way more to work with this year than last year. And this year's WrestleMania build feels like complete garbage. Feels like complete garbage. People got hoodwinked by a heel turn, and now all of a sudden, oh man, hey man, it's WrestleMania season, man. Hey man, we told y'all gotta be patient, man. You gotta be Y'all got hoodwinked by a heel turn with no follow up. You gotta wait for the follow up. You gotta wait weeks for the follow up at that. Y'all fall for anything, bro.
Talent is good. You know, you have different guys.
I mean, not my crash house, though. My crash house don't fall for it. I'm smartening y'all up all the way. I'm talking about the regular, just casual people that don't really watch this with their third eye. You got to watch wrestling with your third eye. Otherwise, you're just going to think like a casual like the rest of them. And us crash outs, we going to clown you. Sorry, we're going to clown you. By the way, speaking of crash outs, if you want to become a channel member, which is different than a subscriber, that means that you want to help the channel in a more above and beyond way. Down in the description, or you could click the join button right. Yeah. There it is, the join button that's right under the video, and I'll definitely appreciate your support. Let's get back to it.
That we're going out there, that we're shining like.
By the way, this is Chad Gable, but they're definitely bringing in Rey Fenix under the American Alpha mask.
And woman, of course, as well. Chad Gable had a great arc last year. He had a great run. You know, people wanted to win IC belt. I wanted him to do it too. Bronson Reed came along.
That was a failure. Giving Sami Zayn that spot at WrestleMania for Gunther over Chad Gable was a failure. Now, granted, it worked in the sense of I want to turn Gable heel, but it was a failure because even the heel turn worked. The heel turn worked for Gable, but with what they wanted to do with Gable as a heel didn't work, because even though you have American Alpha and is it America Made and the girl Ivy Nile, they're not being elevated with this Chad Gable heel turn. They're not being elevated. So essentially it was a fail, which in my eyes means you could have kept Sammy out of this, put Chad Gable in this, and gave Gable that moment that he deserved at WrestleMania, because he deserved it way more than Sammy.
He was great. Jacob Fatu came out to be pretty solid. Tiffany Stratton was developing, you know. Io Sky was in more matches being featured more. She was doing an amazing job last year. She was arguably the workhorse of the women's division, along with Bianca, you know what I'm saying, Jade, etc. LA Knight, awesome, you know. They finally got a U.S. championship belt, which means nothing.
I can't buy into LA Knight. I'm sorry. I don't buy into LA Knight. I don't. I don't. It's because they ring the bell. They ring the bell. I'm sorry. They ring the bell. They ring the bell. I'm sorry. And there's not a time in which LA Knight is in the ring and it can keep my attention. I swear. I try. I try to watch his matches. I'll be like, oh, okay, LA Knight's coming out. He's going to have a match. And I'll be sitting there looking at it. And somehow, 100% of the time, I end up doing something else. I don't even do it on purpose. It's not on purpose. I can't watch this dude's matches. They're boring. I don't know why, but they bore me. They ring the bell.
But he elevated the belt, and throughout all last year, he was doing great with the content and the storylines he was given. Carmelo Hayes came along.
What storylines?
Drew McIntyre, arguably the MVP of 2024. The main event scene, you're going to have your top stars. Some of them are part-time, you know what I'm saying, like the biggest ones, like Cena, Roman, Rock, etc. But the fact is that how can you do things with the other people you have? And Triple H just simply reduces the opportunities for talents. You know, this is why we get Michin versus Chelsea Green over and over again. Tag team matches, the same teams fighting each other over and over and over again, you know? The title belt reigns now are a big reason why it feels like none of these talent can get featured or can reach a certain peak. Because when you know that when Cody Rhodes wins the belt at Mania, that he's going to hold the belt hostage for at least 400 days, there's like no hope. There's zero hope for anyone else to get a shot and actually you believe they're going to win, you know? And it puts you in a position.
Okay. I agree and disagree with this at the same time. I agree because he's right. These people get the title, and because Triple H has this fixation with whoever gets the title needs to hold the title fucking forever, it gets in the way of people believably being able to compete with them and take the title off of them, because you know that Triple H has put himself in a pigeonhole with having these long title reigns. You know nobody's going to take the title off the person because it's going to be a long reign. Redundant. I know I just repeated the same thing 3 times. However, where I disagree is you can still develop these characters and these wrestlers and have them climb the ladder against each other. You can still make them important by making the title chase important. The problem that we have with these people that are holding the titles is it never feels as though people are trying to get to that title. The only time it feels like someone's trying to get to that title is when they say, I want a shot at the title, and then they get the shot at the title. Like, that's it. No build-up that goes into that person for them to work their way up to that title. So that's where the bigger problem is. It's not in the challenge. It's more so in the build-up to get to that challenge. In my opinion.
Where every feud that Cody Rhodes is involved in, you know the outcome, right? You know he's not going to elevate it or do anything special on the mic because he's not good. You know, so he's not good on the mic. Cody Rhodes is a manufactured star. I've been saying this for weeks at this point. He's not someone who organically, you know what I'm saying, cut amazing promos and wrestled amazing matches over and over and over and over and over again consistently for 2 years before he won the belt. You know, what happened is that he had a feud with Roman for Mania 39, and from that moment, like in April 2023 to the end of April, or to the end of 2023, he did nothing. Nothing of meaning. Can anyone tell me what he did in that span? Okay then, there you go. You're like
So here's the thing with Cody. He had the Seth Rollins feud that went over well. I'll give them that. The feud with Seth Rollins worked. But then to have a feud with Brock Lesnar and people don't even remember it, not a match, an actual feud with Brock Lesnar. You could tell people, hey man, remember that feud that Cody had with Brock Lesnar? People won't remember. How you have a feud with Bort Laser and no one remembers it? Or, okay, you individually, you remember it. How often do you hear people talk about that feud? You don't. Okay, let's move Bort Laser to the side. Let's move Seth Rollins to the side. That's it. Other than that, you got a feud with him and Shinsuke Nakamura. That's it. And nobody's checking for the Nakamura thing. So then you just get random matches until you get to the Kevin Owens feud, which worked. But, you know what I mean? Like, that was after he won the title. That's after the title. Coming into working his way up to 39 and 40, Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. That's it. Oh, and Shinsuke.
Yeah, let's be honest with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And so when you have someone who lacks the, not the, well, actually, yeah, lacks the star power,
That's
lacks the
2 years worth of nothing.
and lacks the ability to be consistently great, and Triple H isn't booking them in situations and putting Cody in situations where he's going against monster heels or even just great heels, that's what Cody needs. Cody needs at least someone who's like an A tier or a B plus level heel minimum in order to make him look like at least a B level babyface.
I agree. I made an entire video about this. It's the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes rivalry, or we were robbed of that rivalry.
It's as simple as that. Some baby faces can look like A-tier baby faces regardless. Like John Cena in his prime, for example, right? John Cena's going to look like an A-tier baby face no matter what, pretty much, because he's going to cut elite promos. He's going to elevate the stories. He's going to be consistently in the ring, so he's building his stock as that true workhorse Cena schedule, all-time great.
Problem with John Cena's promos was that he always tore his opponent down. He never raised or elevated the level of the opponent, unless it was like a Brock Lesnar. But even him, he tried to tear down. Wrestling 101, all of the old school guys, if you ever listen to them on a podcast or in an interview, they always tell you, never tear your opponent down. Because when you beat them, you've beaten nobody. You build them up. You always build up your opponent so that when you win, it's like you accomplished something. John Cena had that problem where he always tore his opponents down.
Right, but Cody Rhodes isn't wrestling, and he's not cutting good promos. So you need someone else to come in and help elevate this dude and make him look better. That's the point of having a great face and a great heel. That's basically the basis of wrestling.
All right, I see he's about to talk about Goon.
The basics. How are you gonna? If you can't.
I didn't know how long he was going to talk about Cody.
The big things, which is why Mania 41 looks horrible right now. You know what I'm saying? So there you have that. And then Gunther as well, when he's holding the belt hostage, ain't nobody taking that belt. You know what I'm saying? Until a big 4 PLE. So it's like, well, what's the
problem with Goon's title reign is that he has no credible challengers. The credible challengers that he has seems to be bigger than the belt, and they're having their own feuds, which makes the belt seem obsolete and unimportant. That's Goon's problem. Give him the guys that are box office so that... Simple. Wrestling can't be this hard to book, right? It can't be this hard to book.
Point. You have the two main championships are being held hostage while their stock value is basically dropping over and over and over again, over the months, and no one's doing anything about it. Triple H is just looking at it and is not letting him do anything. Gunther is being booked into oblivion. As much as I make fun of Gunther, sometimes, and talk about how he hasn't been great, with what he's been given, which is true, the simple idea is that Triple H also hasn't been good with the stuff he's giving him. Gunther can't do anything.
He's also stripped him of everything that's made him great. Why strip him of his group? There's so much that they could have done with Imperium and their guardianship of Gunther and the title. Dumb.
If he's booked to not be on the show for 7 weeks and booked to wrestle once every 2 months.
Was there a part of Raw that I missed where Gunther wasn't there? I keep hearing this, but he's there all the time. Am I missing? I might be missing it. There are pockets of times in which I don't watch Raw, but I swear every time I'm watching Raw, Gunther's there.
As the world heavyweight champion, the quote-unquote workhorse, the ring general, the man is sacred, but he hasn't been in the ring in more than 5 times in the last 4 months. So
I'll give him that.
It's not believable. Triple H books everyone into a corner, and therefore it's impossible for this talent to get opportunities. When you have a PLE that happens once every 4 weeks, or once every 5 weeks, whatever it may be, even once every 3 weeks, like it happens for a few months after Mania, it feels like, right? The simple idea is that you need to have more than 4 or 5 matches on the PLE. You can't showcase talent with 4 matches.
Spoke on that.
What are you going to do with that, right? 4 singles matches that are all predictable that no one cares about. You're wasting our time. You're giving us 5 predictable matches at the expense.
First of all, agreed. Second of all, we showcase our mid-card talent on a weekly basis, but don't give them a match on the PLE. We give those matches to the people that aren't on this show on a weekly basis. It's reasons like that a guy like a Piper got over, or a guy like Mr. Perfect and Ted DiBiase and guys like that got over. The mid-card actually got over. Why? They were featured on a weekly basis. Hulk Hogan would do his, if Hulk Hogan did a promo on a Saturday morning, whatever it was, or whatever weekly show that they were doing, Saturday Morning Superstars, I think it was. If Hogan showed up and did a promo, you felt like the stars aligned and you were lucky. Hogan never showed up, ever, but he was over, right? So that formula worked. back then, and it still could work. It doesn't work today because we got internet now. But the difference between then and now is that those mid card talents were showcased heavy on the pay per views. Heavy. Those mid card guys carried the pay per views. So when you had a guy like Rick Martel, who in today's time you wouldn't even notice him, back then he was over because he worked on a weekly basis. He was on the weekly shows. And when he was in a match, he was a heel. When he was in a match with a guy that you wanted to get over, you hated this guy because you grew with him, and they actually paid it off by putting him on the pay-per-view. And I'm just using Rick Martel as a muse when I'm saying this. But use Rick Rude. Use DiBiase. You can use Mr. Perfect. You can use Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation, Honky Tonk Man. You can use any of these people, the Rockers, any of these people, and it makes sense. Today, they just won't put them on the show. They'll put them on the regular show. They won't put them on the PLE. It's stupid. They carry your show every week, and you don't put them on the PLEs. Why? You got 3 hours to fill, and you're stuffing it full of an hour and a half full of ads instead of showcasing the talent that's carrying you every week. Where's their payoff? They don't get one. So in turn, the crowd doesn't care about them because they're wrestling for nothing. And we're sitting here trying to wonder why the War Raiders can't get over. What the fuck are they wrestling for? Why?
Potentially giving us some unpredictable matches with some cooler and more unique stars, some more storylines involved, and some more intrigue. Some more unpredictability. You're sacrificing unpredictability and possible growth for stars for random repetitive matches like Cody versus KO Part 8 or Cody versus AJ Styles Part 5, where we already know what's going to happen. It's just a waste of time. Look away.
And then you'll get a guy that's going against a guy that has a title, and you don't even give him preliminary matches. Give him something for him to continue to build his momentum. So when you get to that title match, you feel like he has a chance to take the title off of this guy who is going to have a year-long run. Why isn't Braun, I was about to call him Braun Lesnar. Why isn't Braun Breaker defending his title at least bi-weekly? Braun Breaker is the definition of defending his title every 30 days. Not his fault. Not his fault. It's the fault of the guy that y'all say be cooking as Booker of the Year. It's his fault.
Happened when you started giving Brunson Reed an opportunity on PLEs. Memorable moments, solid matches. He had a good match with Seth at Crown Jewel, and then did a good job in the War Games match at Survivor Series. LA Knights, an amazing match with Logan Paul at SummerSlam. Heck, even freaking Nia Jax and Bayley put on a good match at SummerSlam. Give your talent opportunities to
I don't
be great,
remember.
and they will be great. It's the same situation with Rhea Ripley. I can't stop thinking. Or no, sorry, that wasn't the right. I'm getting my own brain rock confused. I can't stop thinking about Punk. You know what I'm saying? I guess I can't stop thinking about Punk now. But Rhea Ripley comes out, right? I gotta take my title, and I haven't lost yet. And she comes out, and for some odd reason, she's wrestled 4 or 5 Raw matches in the last 450 days. Are you kidding me? How is Rhea Ripley supposed to improve?
Rhea never wrestles. If you take away her matches with Liv Morgan, just count how many times she's wrestled over the past calendar year. She never wrestles.
For stock, if she doesn't do anything, you have her come out and blame herself in a video segment for her loss to Io Sky last week on Raw. But then the following week, she comes out previously on this episode of Raw for this week, and she comes out and she's like, Bianca, this is your fault. How could you do this? How could you do this? What? Huh? Is it?
All right, I think I kind of get the point with that stuff about people not wrestling. Oh, Roman Reigns.
For the chamber without even qualifying? Like what, Jey Uso's winning Royal Rumbles, but Roman Reigns can't get a rematch? When he was the champion for 4 years? He can't get a rematch clause for Cody?
See, this is where I get confused with rematch clause. Is rematch clause still a thing, or was it abolished? I remember when Shane came in and he said, we're done with that rematch clause stuff. It's dead. It's over with. And we haven't really gotten, now they're a bit spotty with rematch clauses. Some people will be like, I never got my rematch. Or some people will be like, I want my rematch. Or it'll just not be mentioned at all. So, is the rematch clause a thing, or was it really they don't explain this stuff. Shane said it was dead. They never told us that it was brought back. So now it got people wondering. It's weird. It's weird. Some people get a rematch. Some people don't. It's just weird.
Are you kidding me?
And it confuses your
Another
audience.
problem. the plot holes, right? None of these stars can develop themselves if everything they do is contradictory. Because here's the thing: everything that is being watched, right, by a certain amount of fans, like this is just how I view media, like movies, shows, WWE, anything in general. I watch it with a sense of realism and everything, even if it's fictional, or even if it's like altered or scripted, right? Like shows, obviously fake, movies are fake, etc. Right? I'm still watching it with a
Hey, Bloodline was clean though, wasn't they? Hey, bruh. You know what I'm saying?
sense of realism. So things have to make sense to an extent. You get what I'm saying? You can't have a situation where the last
Do I have Ultra Instinct, bro? How he knew I was gonna say that?
time I saw him, for example, right? I'm going out to the grocery store, okay? I meet Cody Rhodes in the middle of the grocery store, okay? You know what I'm saying? And I shake his hand, right? If the last time I saw him, I shook his hand, and I see him again a month later in the grocery store, I'm not going to spear him into a shopping cart and shove his face into the freezer. You get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's what Roman Reigns just did.
He's right, because War Games, and then, I mean, I guess you could say because Punk eliminated him in the Royal Rumble, and now he's in there fraternizing with his wise man. I guess that's reason enough. I guess.
CM Punk helped him in a time where he needed some help from someone, right? And because of that, he shook his hand and made amends with him for a second. Now you fast forward 2 months, and all of a sudden Roman Reigns is spearing this dude and throwing him into the cage. Well, what? Just for the benefit of a face versus face match for nothing. Rhea Ripley, right? Let's take again another example. Let's say that I did bad on the test. I blame myself that I did bad on the test, and then the following week I blame the teacher. What?
This picture of Rhea Ripley, I've used it before, but this picture of Rhea Ripley is it's like beyond emo, dog. This picture of Rhea. Yo, if dudes is beating off to this picture, bro, they're sick individuals. Let's move along.
And goes and wins a world title or something. That way you have Roman versus Rollins, or Roman versus Punk, or Roman versus Rollins versus Punk, or Paul Heyman's in there as well, you know what I'm saying? The world title's on the line. That's how you build engaging stuff, rather than just having Gunther hold the belt hostage and not letting anyone else get a shot or an important, meaningful,
Wait, how do we get here?
Apologizes to the Usos for everything he did with the manipulation, you know what I'm saying? The hatred, the abuse, everything like that in storyline over the last couple years when he was champion. You get what I'm saying? That's what should have happened. That marks an actual turn of Roman Reigns, at least in the sense of his character has shifted a bit. There's a difference. He's not a full-blown babyface. He's not a full-blown heel, but he's kind of a tweener or an anti-hero, right? I'd much rather have that, and then Roman goes on after, fighting his demons, and then goes and wins a world title or something. That way you have Roman versus Rollins, or Roman versus Punk, or Roman versus Rollins versus Punk, or Paul Heyman's in there as well, or at least a heel Orton could have feuded with one of the other top babyfaces to make them look better. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a situation like that, but they didn't do that. Seth Rollins, monotonous feuds, monotonous segments, and a bunch of boring garbage. You know what I'm saying? Just coming out there and doing the same stuff, complaining about Punk, just to lose to him and get pinned by him multiple times. Logan Paul, even, he has great talent on the mic. He's had some pretty mediocre / bad promos over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, Roman. Logan's promos have declined greatly over the past couple of months. Like, they're really bad. They are. It's as if they just told him about how to get cheap heat, and that's all he does now is just aim for cheap heat. It's like the amateur version of MJF, but extremely amateurish. This right here, his mic work now is regressed to the point where it's showing his greenness in the wrestling business. He knows how to talk, yes, but he's just speaking through cheap heat phrases, talking about the town, or let me insult the audience. Like, where's the substance? Give us the burns with substance, not an insult to the town's team. It's corny.
Gonna lie, but obviously in totality, Logan Paul has done a solid job over his tenure in WWE. He's greater, in my opinion, than at least 90.
Excellent wrestler, though. Excellent wrestler. Definitely top 5 wrestler on the roster, which is insane, but he is.
5% of the main roster.
Kid gets it.
So he has super talents, but he's not being pushed for some reason. Carmelo Hayes, he has great talents. He isn't being pushed. Somehow Braun Breaker's won the IC belt twice.
Another thing with Logan Paul, I don't know how many appearances he's supposed to have, but let's say he is supposed to be more full-time now, or maybe he's more full-time now because it's WrestleMania season. I would have him go against these mid-card guys, like some of the people that you're trying to build up. I would throw Logan in there with those guys. instead of having him constantly go against your top of the card and just losing all the time. Like, he used to have credibility. Now he just feels like just another one of the dudes that just has a platform. That's all Logan feels like. Carmelo Hayes, right guy, wrong time.
The WWE Women's Champion, or Carmelo Hayes, the biggest achievement he's done is pin Andrade. Are you kidding me?
Oh, and that's another thing I wanted to make a video on. What the hell was that best of 7 series about? That wasn't a best of 7 series, but it was a best of 7 series. That went nowhere and did nothing for Carmelo, did nothing for Andrade. It did nothing for them. What was the point of that? Let Triple H cook, though. It's going to mean something in 2 years. Don't worry. Whatever.
Well, where's the sense in that? You know, how does that work? You show talent, you get nothing for it. That's how this works now. Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, they're on NXT putting on bangers with Fraxium. You get what I'm saying? But when are they going to come to the main roster? That's another missed opportunity. Book them, give them an opportunity to come to the main roster, get massive reactions, and be in cool.
I literally just said that in my NXT video. Fraxium is lit. Oh, they lit.
Storylines in one of their final years, you know, in professional wrestling.
Oh, he was talking about the Hardys.
You know what I mean? Cody Rhodes, you know, Dr. Libations himself. Now, Cody Rhodes, right, obviously has a lineage of being garbage on the mic and mediocre when it comes to storytelling, and then obviously he hasn't been wrestling. But if Triple H booked him to wrestle more, you know, in actual matches on TV rather than dark matches in Wichita, Kansas, you know what I'm saying, or some no-name town, maybe Cody Rhodes' stock as champion would be higher right now. You never know. Same thing with Rhea Ripley, already explained that. Even with some NXT talent, they have Sol Ruka fighting Chelsea Green for the Women's U.S. Championship next week on NXT. Put it on the main roster. Sol Ruka has one of the cool.
I agree. Showcase your NXT talent on the main roster. I understand why they'll bring Chelsea down as to pop a rating or to continue to help the women down there develop. But if you're going to have one of your talents from the NXT roster be showcased in what would be considered a high profile match for an NXT person, put it on the main roster so that they can have the biggest lights on them, so that people say, damn, who is this person from NXT? I need to go down there and check this out. People that watch the main roster that don't know about this match are not going to go watch NXT because they don't know about this. This can't be that hard to book. I swear it can't be.
Listen, best finishers in WWE. She's athletic. She's younger side of the roster by a landslide, right? She's one of the.
By the way, this chick is half black. She's half black. She's got a black father. That blew my mind when I learned that. Blew my mind.
Better women's wrestlers in NXT. How is it possible that we get into a situation where Sol Ruka, you know what I'm saying, Jada Parker, right? Other people like Ola Femi hasn't even sniffed it.
Jada's not ready. She's not ready.
The main roster, just a quick little match, anything, you know? Like, it just doesn't work. You know, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, etc.
Vince had the right idea. Vince actually did, like, Vince would bring some of the NXT talents up. He did this a little later in the career, where he brought the NXT. Actually, he did it throughout. Think about Kevin Owens when he did it. The U.S. Open Challenge with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. You could think about when he brought Keith Lee up. And Brock Lesnar's, oh, who's this big boy? Right? You bring up Gunther. Like, he was bringing people up to showcase them and then bring them back down. Like, it wasn't like a promotion and then you go back down. No, it was let me showcase you and then bring those eyes down to NXT. NXT used to be hot, and that Vince move helped it. Right now, we're bringing up Roxanne Perez, and that's it. But that's because she's getting ready to transition onto the main roster. Whereas they did it with Lash Legend and whatever her partner name is. Like, they did it there. They did that very well. That was good business, but you never heard of them again. Never heard of them again. Who else? Have they done it with any of the men? One time with Trick, which was forgettable. Other than that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. We still got a few more minutes in this left. This video didn't go in the direction that I thought it would, which means that I could still make more Triple H videos on my thoughts of Triple H. But I want to leave the video at that so that you guys could go and check it out and watch it uninterrupted. Definitely go check him out and give him that support if you like his content. I'm going to leave it off at that one. Again, if you are new to this channel, go on ahead and subscribe. If you want to see more reactions, I could do a bunch of reactions and give them to the member section. I'm starting to get channel members, and I gotta feed the real crash outs. So if you want to become a channel member, you can click the join button, which is right under this video, or there's a link for it down in the description below. Again, if you're new, subscribe, drop a like on the video if you did. Turn on notifications. Definitely turn on your notifications, because I noticed that I created a live stream and I go on my other channel to see if the live stream popped up and it didn't. But there's this thing there that says notify me. Turn on your notifications so that you could be aware of what it is that I'm dropping when the time comes, so that you don't miss out on any content. And let me get up out of here because I'm rambling and this video is holy shit.